Good evening. Happy Thursday. And welcome back to the Man Cave. That time of week once again. And I'm ready for it. Let's see here. Brother Jeff
How dare.
and Tanya. We got a new feature this week that I'm going to try out for a little while and see how it goes. And Tanya, over here in the right hand corner, it's showing comments
Okay.
on the screen, but they're kind of small, so I don't know how well that's going to pan out. It's so small I can't even read it. So
May get bigger once we go to two people.
hang on, Tanya. I'm going to take you off for just a moment. No,
Nope.
it stayed the same. So
Stayed the same.
yeah, that's not going to work for me. So I'm just going to turn that back off. I just wanted to try it because that's a new feature that it alerted me to today when I logged in. Uh, Fran, glad you could make it. Mike, glad you could make it. Mike said he's going to tear into some Heaven Hill. Anthony, nice to see you here, and Russ and Robert. We got some regulars here tonight, but I am ready for a bourbon. I have not had any bourbon this week, so I'm gonna have some of this Benchmark Foolproof tonight. I haven't had any of that lately, and for foolproof bourbons, barrel strength stuff, cask strength, whatever you want to call it. This bottle right here is the best bang for the buck on the planet. The bottles that I have of this, I think I paid $24 for them. They've gone up. They've gone up to like 29. So, but still, even at $30, that's a bargain bottle because this is an extremely good bourbon. Jeff, what are you having tonight?
I am having some Eagle Rare tonight.
Eagle Rare. Tanya, did you get that cappuccino made?
No.
No.
I'm gonna have to troubleshoot. Yeah.
What's
That's
going?
not the
What?
pipe.
No, we're having a problem with our Jura, so we've got to sort that out and figure out what's going on. It's not the milk thing's not working on it, which is a problem. We'll figure it out. I may have to call tech support. I have to look at it and see what's going on, but it's not the tubing apparently. So is it the milk cooler itself? Have you tried pumping milk out of a glass
I was pumping it out of a glass.
and
I
that
wasn't
didn't
involved
work?
in the cooler in this whatsoever.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll get it sorted out. But yes, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh, Janice is here and Randall. Nice. That's good stuff. So we're back after a week off. Tanya made it back from Denmark successfully last Thursday night. I went and picked her up late Thursday afternoon at the airport. And Tanya, you had a good trip, right?
Oh, I had a great trip. Yeah.
Yeah, we missed her.
Yes, we did.
Man, those cats don't like me well enough to be left alone for that long.
That's
So,
not true. The cats love
yeah,
you.
well, I don't know about all that. They love me when they're hungry. Yeah. So, Ryan, nice to have you with us again tonight. And once again, I don't know if all of you caught it or not. Yesterday, I put up a post. We're going to retire Man Cave Meals at the end of June. Uh, our last live stream in June will be the last Man Cave Meals post. It's not there's not a problem or anything. I'm just kind of burned out on it. I'm struggling for creativity. I'm struggling to continue to come up with creative content. I'm not able to get very many guests interested in joining us, so I'm gonna hang it up. I've been doing this. I don't know exactly how long. I'd have to go back and look. It's 12 or 13 years. I haven't been doing the live stream that long, but Man Cave Meals has existed about that long. And I've had a good run with it. I've enjoyed a lot of it. A lot of it's been work, a lot of it's been challenging, but I have done a lot of cool things. I've met a lot of cool people during this time. And so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to disappear from social media. I'm going to continue my Facebook page for a while. Uh, I don't know if I'll continue it indefinitely, but for now, I went ahead and set up my Facebook page as a professional page where you guys can follow my page if you like, rather than becoming a friend. And if I choose to post anything about cooking at any given time, it will come up on my personal Facebook page. So you can find John Setzler on Facebook, and you can hit the like or the follow now, whatever option comes up on that end. So I come across any cool products that I want to tell anybody about, it'll be through there rather than Man Cave Meals, and it will be random. There won't be any schedule or rhyme or reason to it, and there may be other miscellaneous content that shows up there that's not cooking related, since it is my personal page. But I did set it up as a profession. I switched it to the professional account where you can follow me there if you like. It's totally up to you. No hard feelings if you don't, because like I said, there's not going to be any regularity to it at all. But in the meantime, we're going to have the rest of June. We're going to go through the rest of June business as usual, and I'm going to continue to post at about the same pace I've been posting. So that being said, it's about time to have a look at what we got going on this week. William Williams has jumped in here with us. Man, Williams
Yeah,
come
he's
around
wanting
here a little bit.
samples. He's
Yeah.
wanting to borrow a grill.
Yeah. Well,
I
William
tell
lives
you,
out in
William.
Colorado. Maybe Tanya, we should just go out there. You've not met William, but I'll tell you one thing, you'd love him. He's hard to
Well,
not
I've
like
heard a lot about
once you met
Williams.
him. Yeah. William, I used to work with William a long time ago. It's been quite a while. I worked for a company between, I think, 92 and 97, and that's where I met William. And William moved out to Colorado not too long after that. And I haven't seen him since he moved out there. So you want to borrow a grill? Well, I can probably hook you up because I've got more than I need.
Well, I'm just telling you though, William, you need to get yourself right on down to the Walmart. They have this really just super shiny American grill. It's got like a star spangled top, blue with stars.
Did
and
you
the
see
bottom's
that,
like
Jeff?
red and white
Yeah,
stripes.
that kettle, the American kettle.
American flag
kettle.
Weber kettle. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was we were at Walmart. Was it yesterday, Tanya?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one on the floor at Walmart. I was surprised to see it there. I figured that was going to be a limited edition thing, but apparently they've made a lot of them if one showed up on the Morganton Walmart. So, yeah, but it's a pretty cool looking grill.
It really is.
Yeah, William, you look me up next time you're in town for sure. And maybe I can drag Tanya out to Colorado.
Yeah.
We've not been to Colorado since
I
we've
have
been
not
together.
been to Colorado.
So
I can click off my state map.
we can go to
It's beautiful country out there.
in the high country. Yeah, Colorado Springs. There's a lot of good beer in Colorado too. There's a lot of great brew pubs in the Denver and surrounding areas out there.
Well, when Dad was in the Air Force, he was stationed in Colorado, and apparently he took the Coors factory tour quite often.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
All righty. Well, Tanya, we'll bring you back here in just a bit.
All righty.
All right. Let's see. So, Jeff's got him some beef hot dogs here. What we got,
Yeah,
Jeff?
baby. Well, this week I went to Wild Fork because I got a gift card from the media specialist over at the school I volunteer at, and it
Mhm.
was $50 gift card for Wild Fork. So I said, I'm gonna go get me some Terrace Major. So I
Right.
walk in to get Terrace Major, and the lady looked at me like I was came off another planet. Terrace Major, never heard of that. So I said, also known as Petite Tender. Oh, that I got. I said, okay, point
Yeah.
me in the right direction. So she pointed me in the right direction, and really, it's very reasonably priced. It's $7.99 a pound, and they are you absolutely have to do no trimming to these whatsoever. I mean, you could trim up the little spots, but I didn't even bother. So I seasoned that guy up with Lane's SPG. That's kind of my go-to, and cranked up the Huntsman. I didn't use the venom on it. I just opened the door on the bottom wide and the top vent wide and let her rip. And I
Right.
threw those guys on there and turned them a couple times.
I'm gonna clean up my Huntsman grate here in my retirement.
Cool.
Mine's a mess, and I'm still making up my mind how much I like that grate as opposed to the stainless steel bars. So you got it running just over a hotbed of coals.
Yep. I
Uh,
mean, I like that. I like that grade a lot. It does good for me. Like I say, ever since I softened the edges, so it doesn't
yeah.
eat up my Grill Daddy tool.
Mhm.
It's been great and it cleans up great. I mean,
So you're not using the? Do you have the next level kit yet?
yeah, I've got it.
So you just wanted to cook over high heat on that today
Just high
above?
heat, yeah, because it
Yeah.
doesn't take that long. Those aren't that thick. Those
No,
are,
these things weigh about 3/4 of a pound usually. They're like
yeah,
12 ounces. The last ones I had were about 12 or 13 ounces a piece.
yeah.
They look
Each
bigger
package
there
was a
than they
pound and a
are.
half.
Yeah, so that they look bigger on the grill there than they actually are. So I guess this is after a flip somewhere down the
No,
line.
that's actually, I don't know how that picture got in there. That's pork tenderloin.
Okay.
My Terrace Major didn't go from 4 to 2. So anyway, there they are, all nice and done. And the one thing about Terrace Major that probably a lot of you don't realize, because it's a very active muscle in the cow, and it gets a lot of
Mhm.
blood circulating in it, you need to allow it to rest after you cook it longer than you would a normal steak. Otherwise, you're going to have a bloodbath on your hand when you go to cut this thing. So,
Yeah.
because I like mine rare to medium rare. So let it rest a little longer than you normally would. You know, if you go 10 minutes on a steak, let it rest about 15 minutes and you'll be fine.
They have these at my US Food Chef store, so I might grab some next time I'm over there.
Oh, these melted in your mouth, John.
Yeah, I've had
That's
it
re-
before.
that's really not a very good picture, but that was a nice rare to medium rare, and then I had some bird's nest with it, and
Yeah, these things
it
kind of work like a beef tenderloin because they're smaller out there on the
right.
ends, so the ends will get a little more done than the middle simply because
Yep.
they're thinner. So
And
what's your
there's no
side
getting
here?
around that. Pardon?
What's your side dish here?
Bird's nest from Trader Joe's.
Okay,
So that was
so
that
that
was my cook for the week, and I'm going back to get me some more of those because they were, I mean, just melt in your mouth.
the only Terrace Major I've ever had was some that I got. I've had them a couple of times now with stuff that I got from Porter Road. Uh,
Porter Road's very
over,
good too.
yeah. So
So that's what turned me on to the Terrace Major. A couple of the, I think it was the last AGC show that you went to. Chef Eric was doing Terrace Major on the grill.
right,
That's when I got turned on to Terrace Major. I had not had it before then, and
it's a
we had
hard
some
cut to
extras.
find
Yeah,
because
it
normal.
definitely is.
I'm trying to remember where it comes from on the. I
Cuts
think
them
it's
up at the
off.
chuck.
Is it off the chuck or is it
Yep,
off the sirloin?
it's off the chuck, and I say you only get 2 of them per cow, and so that's
Right.
like a pound and a half per cow. So
Yeah.
when you take a look at the grand scheme of things, you got a 2,000-pound cow sitting there. You're only getting a pound and a half of Terrace Major out of that 2,000 pounds. So
I'm thinking this is another one of those cuts that they call a butcher's cut because it's a piece that the butcher's aware of, and the butcher knows it's a good cut. But I think it, much like tri-tip in the past, used to be ground up with the chuck in the hamburger. Now, but the tri-tip comes from is it the bottom sirloin that the tri-tip comes from?
I think so, but I'm not going to say 100%.
Or the bottom round. The tri-tip doesn't come from the same place, but the tri-tip used to get ground up. That I remember reading about tri-tip when I first heard about it. I was believing that it was part of the chuck, or part of the round. I don't remember. It's a good question for Chat GPT. It'll tell you all about it. My cook this week, I struggled once again to figure out what I was going to do. And at the last minute, I decided to do something else. Stephen Hickey has set up a cooking challenge over in the Huntsman Grill group on Facebook, much like some of the ones he used to run in the Kamado Joe group, where he's provided a topic and given everybody the opportunity to participate. And this one's going to be particularly nice because whoever fed people decide win this particular challenge, they're going to get a free Huntsman rotisserie. So if you're into the Huntsman and have a Huntsman and are participating, you might want to check that group out because we're going to give away a rotisserie.
Yep.
So, but what he did, Stephen found a video online. I should have got the link to it to share it here tonight, but it's a steak sauce, for lack of a better term, challenge. But Stephen found this video. I can't remember the chef's name, but he did a video walkthrough of making 5 different sauces that are good for steaks. And, one of them was a Béarnaise, and there were a couple other ones. But one of them, when I was watching the video, was a compound butter that is classically referred to as Café de Paris butter sauce. And it's a compound butter, and I've made compound butters. I've lost count of how many times in the past I've made various compound butters, but I've not made this one. And this one jumped out of this computer screen at me as soon as the chef started chopping anchovies to go in it. I have never in my life thought about chopping anchovies. Bo,
I was going to say, Bo just joined us.
Now that's a blast from the past. I know. I haven't talked to Bo in ages. Bo, glad to have you with us tonight.
Hopefully he's going to be there at the AGC show next weekend.
Yeah. So, it's been a while, but I've not made a compound butter that had anchovies in it. And for those of you who use anchovies in your cooking, you know about this umami that anchovy brings to whatever you put it in. And a lot of people are afraid of the ingredient because they're not really familiar with what it does and how it's used. It's not just something you're going to throw on top of a pizza. And in my mind, they smell bad coming off a pizza. I don't like the aroma they produce when you cook them on a pizza. But when I make homemade tomato sauce, for instance, I'll toss 1 or 2 anchovy fillets in there. I don't cut them up because they just dissolve on their own when you put them in a sauce like that, just from stirring it up. But it brings an umami and a mouthfeel that you can't really put your finger on. But if you taste 2 sauces, one with it and one without it, you can tell there's a difference there, and you can't really ID what it is. But the idea of anchovies in a compound butter really struck me as a fantastic idea. And it's apparently been a thing because when I looked up this recipe online to see what people were doing with it, all of them have anchovies in it. So it's not a new thing. It's a classical French sauce that's apparently been around for quite a while. When I was reading about the origins of it, it actually originated in Switzerland. So or Switzerland or Sweden, one or Switzerland maybe. But it's not a particularly new thing. So last week we were kind of talking about using fish sauce instead of anchovies, since fish sauce is made from anchovies. And I got a PM from Mike Little, who's with us here tonight, earlier in the week, talking about can't get the fish sauce to incorporate with the butter, which I got to thinking about that. And I said, yeah, that would be a problem. But there's a workaround for that. And I'm going to show it to you. I didn't use fish sauce. I went ahead and bought fish paste, but the sauce I made's got some other liquid ingredients in it. And I'll show you how to incorporate that without having to worry about it finding its way out. Jeff, what Mike ran into is if you try to incorporate fish sauce with butter, it just works its way back out because they won't mix. You know, the fish sauce, for whatever the reason, won't mix with the butter. It's kind of like trying to put Worcestershire sauce or lemon juice or whatnot in butter. They just won't incorporate it. It will come out. It won't stay in it. So let's have a look at what I've got going on here first. There's a lot of ingredients in this, and I may show you. I can't remember if I included the recipe here or not, but if you look this up online, you'll find a whole bunch of different recipes for it they're not that different. They're all basically the same. It's called Café de Paris, and it's you'll find a bunch of them. But I went ahead and prepped all my ingredients here, and starting back here in the top left, I've got anchovy paste. Then I've got Worcestershire sauce, lemon juice, and some Dijon mustard. I've got a finely chopped shallot. I've got some salt. I've got a curry powder, paprika, a finely chopped two or three finely chopped cloves of garlic, some black pepper, some Italian seasoning blend, and some parsley. So I used dried because I didn't have any fresh for any of that. And one of the notes I want to make when I come back and do this again, the shallot and the garlic, I'm going to mince those on my microplane grater, where I got a finer mince than I have here from chopping it with the knife. It would have worked. It would have worked out a little better in the sauce overall. But this is all the ingredients that go in this besides the butter. So what I did was I took all of that and dumped it in one of my little small stainless steel mixing bowls. And Mike, if you're still with us, this is where the magic comes in. If you're using fish sauce or any other liquid ingredients, incorporate it with all this stuff, and those liquids will absorb themselves into these dry ingredients and incorporate into your butter that way. So I just took one of my silicone spatulas, and I worked this all together into this kind of a wet paste that you see there. And then I used a half a pound of butter, just plain unsalted butter. You could use salted butter, I guess, if you wanted to, and leave the salt out as the ingredient. So I softened that butter and tossed it in there, and I just used that same spatula to work all that together. And you want to get it completely mixed. And then what I tend to like to do with my compound butters is put them out on a piece of plastic wrap and roll it up into a log. You don't have to do that, but I think there's some benefit to doing that. And there's two benefits to doing it, because when you use this stuff, it's easy to unwrap it and slice it off in little discs for whatever you want to do. And if you don't want to do that, you can put it in whatever kind of container you want to store it in. And this will keep in the refrigerator for, I would think, a couple of weeks without any problem. But if you're not going to use it for a while, or if you're going to make up a good bit of it, you can also freeze your compound butter. I've frozen compound butters multiple times without any issues. So let me check on Tanya here for a second. You okay?
I'm having really, really terrible connection.
Okay, I'm gonna minimize you back down. Tanya was popping in and out in there. I just want to make sure she wasn't having a major problem. But anyway, I made this yesterday, and I cooked with it today. This is one of those ingredients that if you can make it in advance, you should, and it gives the flavors time to meld. And I wouldn't hesitate to make this more than a day in advance. This is not something you really want to make on cook day because you want to put it back in the refrigerator long enough to firm it back up. So today, I took one of my steaks out of the freezer. I took it out of the freezer a few days ago to let it thaw. One of my strips this is a piece off the last whole strip loin that I bought. And I used the seasoning blend that we've been using this month, the Lane's salt, pepper, garlic. It's a pretty good option for salt, pepper, garlic if you don't want to make your own. Seasoned it about like you see here on both sides, and I put it on a rack on one of my small sheet pans and put it in the refrigerator, and I'll let that guy dry brine for about 4 hours. You can do that overnight too, and it's not a bad idea to do it overnight. And that's just showing both sides, I guess, here. And I fired up the Huntsman. I got the Huntsman out today, and the lump. I took all the lump charcoal that I had left over in there from a previous cook, and just put it in my small chimney. And this charcoal tray that I have here is actually a charcoal grate or a charcoal tray that works. It's made for the PK grills. I don't have the PK grill anymore, but I still have that, and it's a nice little tool to have when you want to keep your charcoal together and not let it spread out too far because it's got some walls on it there. So I fired up that coal, and I dumped that coal into my tray. It didn't take much. I don't know how much was there, but that chimney looked like it was full, but that's the small Weber chimney. That's not the full size one. They've got two size chimneys, and that's the small one, which is a really good one to have if you want to do smaller cooks like this. So I decided to use the next level system in the Huntsman today so I could have that one grate down pretty much directly over the coals. That lower grate, there's less than an inch between that lower grate and my hot coal bed there, so it makes it a really good surface for doing some fast searing, and that's what I wanted to do. So I got my ThermoWorks RFX out and stuck a probe in there because let me tell you something. When you're cooking over high heat like that, you have to pay attention. It is so, I'm going to say it's hard. I've done it a lot now, so I kind of know what to look for. But if you haven't done a whole lot of this, it's really easy to overcook your steak because the carryover cooking on here, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes, it'll go faster. It'll go further than you think it will. This is going to go nearly 20 degrees, if not a little bit more when I take it off. So my favorite method when I'm cooking a steak over charcoal is to flip it every 45 seconds to a minute, depending on what kind of flare-ups I'm getting. And since I had that fat cap back there, I was getting some flare-ups, so I flipped it fairly frequently. That was after my first flip, after about 45 seconds. So I just kind of kept this thing moving. And this is about where I was when I got the sear and the char on it like I wanted, and then I moved it off to the high side, and then I spun the high side back around where it was over the heat, but it's up 4, 5, or 6 inches above the coals at this point, and I let it finish, and I pulled it when I was reading 115 degrees on the thermometer, and this is the screen from that thermometer on my ThermoWorks RFX probe. And right here, it's showing 135.1. But if you can see this max number here, it's on its way down because it maxed out at 135.7. So I got lucky on this one and pegged medium rare because medium rare is at 135. In my world, medium rare is at 135.
Yep.
So
Mine too.
That one got up, it maxed out at 135.7 before it started coming back down. And I just wanted to show that screen because I never nail one like that. I'm always I'm in a 10-degree window there when I'm cooking over direct heat like that. It might stop at 130, it might stop at 140, it depends. So the amount of carryover heat you're going to get on a cook like that it depends on how hot you're cooking. You know, if I had been cooking this on the griddle, where the griddle temperature was somewhere between 400 and 500 degrees, I would have had a similar carryover because the contact cooking transfers heat as effectively as the direct searing, but it's at a lower temperature. But this is one of those areas where experience is going to teach you how far it's going to carry over. So that one, I was just particularly proud because I nailed that one. So I saved that picture. And I loaded up some of the compound butter. I did two things here. I don't guess I took a picture of the disc before it had a chance to melt. I did two things here with my compound butter. I took a little bit of my compound butter and put it in a small saucepan and melted it on the grill while I was cooking. And I poured a little bit of that over the top of the steak, and then I set one of my discs of compound butter on it to let it melt off some more. And this, I can't begin to describe the flavor of this to you. This is just something, guys, you're going to have to try. Here's a money shot, I guess, if you want to call it a money shot on the steak cook. I had a really beautiful medium rare. And in this picture, you can see that my onions and garlic are a little chunkier than I prefer for a sauce like this. So I will mince those with a microplane grater. I won't use the finest microplane grater. I will probably use the microplane grater that I would use to make to zest a lemon or a lime. That's probably the microplane that I'll use next time I do this. I'll just have to try it and see. But I like this well enough that I've decided I'm going to make up a larger batch of it and toss it in the freezer, because last night for dinner, Tanya and I had a simple dinner last night. We had some baked potatoes and we had some corn on the cob. And I said, this is going to be a good opportunity to try this. So let me close that up. Let me get Tanya back up here. We had baked potatoes, and I melted some of this butter to serve on the corn on the cob and the baked potatoes. And I just thought it was fantastic. Tanya, how do you like that?
Oh, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed it on the corn.
Yeah. And Janice, it is like a cowboy sauce. It's similar to a lot of the ones you see. And Brian, that Weber knife, I've got a set of 4 of those, but I think I've lost one. They don't make it anymore, and I've had those probably for 25 years. I've had them for a really long time. They're my favorite steak knives. They're like steakhouse knives, and I bought them on a closeout sale that they were having at Lowe's, and I think I paid $15 for a set of 4, and I've just kept them because they're really great. I like those big wide blade steak knives like they have in the steakhouses, and I've just kept those. I don't have one in my drawer here, or I'd show you, but it's a typical steakhouse style steak knife. But that sauce is amazing, and there's so many things I can think of that you could use that on. I would have no problem using that as a lobster dip or a crab dip, or I would have no problem tossing cooked green vegetables in that. Broccoli, asparagus, green beans. I can't think of anything. Yeah, no, Anurag, she's aware of the anchovy thing.
I am pro anchovy. Look, I love anchovies. Anchovies
Yeah.
are amazing. Now, am I going to eat them raw? Hell no.
No.
But the thing about anchovies is you chuck them in a pan, they disappear.
Yeah.
It's like
they disappear
and
leave their flavor behind. It's
maybe they ascend. I don't know what happens, but they leave umami behind.
She's aware, and I would never try to feed Tanya something like that without her knowing what's coming. And I don't remember the first time I cooked with anchovies for her. I don't remember what it was, or it may have been a tomato sauce that I put anchovies in. But like I said, when I saw this video that Stephen Hickey posted with that chef putting the anchovies in the compound butter, I said, I got to get this on short notice. I've got to do this. And so that was just last week. So I didn't waste any time putting this one together. It came together really well.
I know it's unexpected, but yeah,
well,
anchovies are the.
I don't think it's something unexpected with her, because the anchovy's not a feature ingredient in terms of it's not changing. I don't know how to describe it. It's just the umami thing. Umami is not something you can dial in.
It provides this depth. Like, here's the depth.
Anchovy's an ingredient that we would not eat. We would not eat it on its own. I wouldn't either. I don't eat sardines, so I know they're not similar, but they're both small fish. I guess that's the only thing they have in common.
This is true.
Yeah, I don't try to slip anything by Tanya.
My parents.
If I cook something that I think she's not going to like, I'll tell her, and I'll say, if you don't like this, I'll take you out somewhere else when we're done. And we've done that. That happens.
And it has happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often, but occasionally it will happen when it just, And the same thing happens when I cook. I made this. There was this French onion pasta, and I was just like, ooh la la, French onion and pasta. How can this be wrong? But it was not good.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here going.
And Brian, I cooked on that. I cooked on that thing a few times and got rid of it. I like the Weber Smoky Mountain, but it's not. Once again, space is my problem. If I had space, I would never have gotten rid of any of the grills I bought. And Janice, anchovies, not on toast.
And not with raspberry jelly.
Yeah.
It may be fabulous.
I had a job.
You can have my portion.
For a short time when I was young, I had a job in a pizza place, and it was a place where occasionally a customer would come in and order anchovies on their pizza, and I hated the smell of that pizza coming out of the oven. I just didn't like it. Not to say I wouldn't eat it. I don't know. This is another one of those situations where I shouldn't say I don't like it, because honestly, I haven't tried it. I just didn't like the smell of it at the time. But I don't know.
Look, I don't want to see it.
I've trained myself to eat other things that I didn't like when I was younger, like asparagus and Brussels sprouts and sweet potatoes.
Let me tell you about Marmite and my first experience with Marmite. So I'm studying abroad, and I'm going through the refractory, and I see this Marmite stuff. So I asked the lunch lady, I was like, what is this? She goes, oh, love, it's so good. You've got to try it, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, well, I'll try it, right? And so, the package says spread thinly. Well, they said the same shit about peanut butter. And let's face it, more peanut butter is good, right? So I put a huge slop of this stuff on my toast, and I take a bite, and it's so bad I start crying. And my roommate is sitting across the table from me, and she's like, is it good? And I'm like, yeah, you should totally try some. So she takes a bite of it, and she goes, oh my God, you're a liar. It was.
Is that not the UK version of Vegemite? Is it not the same stuff?
Yeah. So anyway, it's awful. Not a fan. Will not do it again. And people who are like, "Oh, put some Marmite on here," they are just deranged.
Now, Anurag, I can see some potential uses as that as an umami ingredient.
No, we're just saying no to that. I could tell
Yeah.
you what Marmite tastes like, but we don't want me to go there.
I wouldn't buy it for the umami value because it's too easy for me to get where we're going with the ingredients I currently use for umami, which are the umami ingredients that I keep on hand here at the man cave are anchovies or fish sauce, or now anchovy paste as well. Uh, Worcestershire sauce brings umami to the table.
Yeah,
I believe Worcestershire sauce has anchovies in
it
it, if
does
I
have
remember
anchovies.
correctly, and the and MSG. Those are those are the
Yes.
those are the umami, and sometimes it's mushrooms. Certain types of mushrooms tend to bring umami as well. So that's something.
It's just truly awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to talk. I know Jess Pryles has done a lot of stuff about
Exhibit
Vegemite.
A. Remember what I said about people being crazy? I
Yeah.
mean, just being deranged. Yeah, like totally, totally.
All
I'm
right.
just gonna say that right here. Keep that
So
Marmite and Vegemite alpha shit because it is
yeah,
not good.
Janice, I keep a jar of it's called Accent uh, that I get at the grocery store. That's just Accent's a commercial name, I guess, for MSG. And I did notice also that the U.S. Food Chef Store had the larger bottles of that stuff. It's in the same size as their spice bottles for MSG. And when I don't know when I'm going to run out of that particular bottle. I'll have to look and see how much is in there because MSG is something I rarely ever use more than a teaspoon of MSG in anything I'm doing. It's just one of these ingredients that we don't use a whole lot of. Yeah, MSG it gets a bad rap because at some point in history people decided that they were allergic to it, even though there's no allergens. So I don't know. It got a bad rap, and
It's
so
coming back,
people
John.
well, I don't know. I don't care if people don't want to eat it. Uh, but I can tell you one thing: most of the just about every seasoning blend I put together on my own here has got some amount of MSG in it, and simply because I know where the benefits are. Brian, I might do that if you go to my Man Cave Meals page and do a search for the hashtag Man Cave Magic, you'll find them. And I don't know, my beef one's evolved a few times. It's my beef rubs become very simple, and I'm playing with a new ingredient in my beef rub that I haven't posted about yet. That Knorr. Jeff, are you familiar with the Knorr
Yes.
KNORR uh, uh, beef bouillon granules that come in a
Hmm.
jar? I've been experimenting with that in beef rub, and it's very intriguing. It's got MSG in it, and the last test of that I made that I used, I had too much. I put more in there than I needed, and it wasn't good. But I mean, my rub things, I guess it's going to be an ever evolving thing as long as I'm alive. But my salt pepper garlic blend, I don't think is going to change much because the the man cave magic salt pepper garlic blend, I'm pretty happy with. It's I
Yeah,
don't
once you get
foresee any.
those ratios dialed in, you're pretty much set with it. You don't. That's not one that you would change that much of. You use it as
Right.
good base for other things, but
But one of the things about it is that ratio, the ratio that I like might not be the ratio that you like. And that's why I think
mhm.
it's important if you're going to make your own is to start out with a known amount of salt. weigh that salt. Put 100 grams of salt or put 50 grams of salt in a container, and then add your garlic. Start out with maybe 10 grams of garlic powder and mix that in and taste it and get it to where you like the flavor you're getting between the salt and the garlic, and then do the same thing by adding your black pepper in. Find your ratio. Find the ratio that you like, because it doesn't have to be the ratio I like. Most of the people I know that make salt, pepper, garlic blends on their own, it's way too pepper heavy for me. I don't like my SPG blend to be overpowering pepper. And the reason that happens is a lot of these folks are watching what Aaron Franklin's doing, where he's making a 50-50 mix of salt and pepper to do it, put on a brisket. That's fine on a brisket, but my SPG blend's going to get used for brisket hardly ever. And I want my SPG to be something I would season a steak with, and I wouldn't put that much black pepper on a steak unless I was doing something like steak au poivre, where you want it to be pepper forward. Everything doesn't want to be pepper forward. And also, I'm still back and forth with the salts to whether or not I want to use regular table salt size salt grains, or if I want to use the coarse kosher salt, because they behave differently depending on what you're doing with them. Like the steak that I showed you earlier, that Lane's salt, pepper, garlic is using a coarse kosher or a coarse sea salt, and it takes that salt longer to dissolve and break down. The dry brine time can be shortened dramatically if you're using a fine grained salt, simply because it just breaks down quicker. And it's easier to get everything the same size if you're using the fine grained salt, because it's quite easy to have fine grained pepper, and your granulated garlic is already fine grained. But that's another thing I'm going to be playing around with, is making dried minced garlic. I'm going to quit throwing garlic cloves away when I'm not using them. I'm gonna mince them, and I'm gonna put them in the dehydrator and save it. So I will have a coarser dried garlic if I want it. But I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
Go for it.
Yep.
It's a way to keep from wasting garlic. But then again, garlic's cheap, so it's one of the cheap things that we still have.
Well, it's not as cheap as it used to be if you're buying it in the grocery store.
It's not exuberant yet.
I paid $1 for a bulb of garlic yesterday.
Well, I'll trade you that for what I paid for lunch today. We went to Wayback Burgers for lunch.
Wayback
for the three of us to eat, $56.
That sounds about like a trip to Five Guys here.
Nah, Five Guys is cheaper than that.
Well, the last time Tanya and I ate at Five Guys, it was $34 for the two of us. And we shared a French fries. We had one.
You can't eat a French fry by yourself.
Well, that's what we did. We got the regular order of fries, and we had 2 burgers and 2 drinks, and it was $34 and change. So yeah,
but they do have good fries.
We got Whataburger opening next month, and Tanya, that one in Gastonia opened today.
Oh.
So yeah, the one down there is open.
Don't get your hopes up too high on Whataburger.
Yeah, I've never eaten at one. I don't think I've eaten at one. I've been to In-N-Out. I've only been to In-N-Out once. Tanya, it was that one when we went to in L.A.
I thought that was pretty good.
It wasn't bad. My cousin and her family picked us up from the airport when Tanya and I went to Los Angeles, and they said they wanted to know if we were interested in eating at In-N-Out, so we did. And yeah, Culver's is good. I'm pretty happy with Culver's. Tanya and I
Culver's / Smitty's.
Tanya and I eat at that Culver's in Hickory pretty regularly. Their burgers aren't there. it ain't a Five Guys burger, but it's not bad. It's everybody loves Shake Shack, Tanya, and I'm just not a fan.
I'm not either. Shake Shack
Neither am I.
hasn't impressed me at all, and I've tried it several times. You know,
To
really.
me, every time I've tried it, the burger has been dry and it's too expensive
Yeah.
for a dry burger.
Well, when I used to go, when Kamado Joe's headquarters was in Duluth, whenever I would go down there, I would be rolling in there around lunchtime, and I would stop, and there was a Shake Shack a couple miles from there, and I would usually stop there. I stopped there a couple of times and grabbed some lunch, and I think I stopped there 3 or 4 times before I decided I just wasn't going back. Maybe it was that location, but the food's just not good. And the French fries that they served were these really thin shoestring French fries, and mine were cold every time. They were never hot when I got them, and I just was not a fan. But maybe I'll try it again because I have heard a lot of people talk about how great Shake Shack is, and I don't know, Tanya, do we even have one of those in our part of the state anywhere?
I don't know about here. I mean, I've ate Shake Shack in Chicago. I've eaten Shake Shack in Washington, and they just, I don't know.
Was there one in Mooresville? They had the Red Robin down there, but I don't know if they had a Shake Shack.
I don't know.
Say, Whataburger in the old days used to be a good burger, but then again, so did McDonald's. Now McDonald's is like eating a piece of cardboard.
Yeah. Well, I'll maybe we'll try one next time we come across one, but I don't think we've got one in our immediate area unless there's one in Charlotte somewhere.
Oh, Crinkle Cut.
So they've changed their fries since I had mine. Or maybe it wasn't a Shake Shack. Maybe it was something else. I think it was a Shake Shack, though. Isn't that the one that Marsha likes so much?
No. The one that Marsha likes is the, what is it? It's not Shake Shack.
Burger
okay, well,
21,
maybe I'm
Burger
confused
Fi.
then.
No.
We used to have a Burger Fi here.
It's not Burger Fi, no. It's like Steak and Shake. Something like
okay, Steak and Shake. That's what I was eating at in Duluth. It wasn't Shake Shack then. So it's my confusion on that, guys. I don't know if I've ever eaten at a Shake Shack then. So we'll try it.
And I've just not been a big fan of Shake Shack. Anytime I've had it, anywhere I've had it.
Janice likes Whataburger, but Whataburger used to only be in Texas. It used to be just a Texas thing. And Honor Rock, I'm with you. Wendy's has got good fries too. Wendy's fries are good.
I like Checkers Big Buford.
I eat it. The Habit Burger.
Well, Checkers is getting expensive also, Jeff. I stopped at a Checkers. I ate a Checkers burger at work Saturday. I stopped and picked up Checkers because somebody had told me they had added the AI at their drive-thru, and I wanted to check that out, and I did, and it worked fine. But I got a combo that ended up being $17 at Checkers. I was pretty surprised about that. That's Five Guys money, and if I'm going to spend $17 on a burger combo, I'll go to Five Guys instead of Checkers.
Rallies and Checkers are owned by the same company, Analog.
Yeah.
It's the exact same menu. So to say one is better than the other, I don't agree with you. They're equal. And they're both good.
I'm not familiar with Rally. I'm not familiar with that one. I don't know if I've ever seen one. Is it the same? Are they all drive-thrus?
Yeah, it's all drive-through. It's the same motif. It's a checkerboard pattern. Both of them are good. But to say Rallies is better than Checkers or Checkers is better than Rallies, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You can
it's kind of like Hardee's and Carl Jr.
Yeah,
Carl
exactly.
Jr. Yeah, they're the same food with a different name on the building. Yep.
I've heard about that Lotta Burger. We were supposed to get one of those here, and it never showed up.
A Lotta Burger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should do a burger again next week, Jeff. Oh, it's grilling season. I forgot to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, because
grilling
it's officially started as of Monday.
Yes. Dadgum, that totally. I totally forgot to talk about that. It's grilling season again.
I expect to see those grills up and running, smoke
Yeah.
flaring.
So you gonna do a burger again next week?
I'm fine with it. It'll be easy for me because I get off the cruise ship Monday and then I come home and I get everything ready because I'm cooking for the school for Tuesday.
Okay.
So I
Well,
got
I'll
a
tell
busy
you what.
week.
Let's not pick a plan. You just make some kind of burger you want to make, and I'll make something I want to make. I'll,
Cool.
I'll come up with something that Tanya will eat because Tanya won't eat my mushroom Swiss burger. I don't think so. Tanya and
Yeah.
I'll come up with something else, and we'll do a burger again next week. A burger boy. I've not even heard of that
Hey,
one
Tiffy.
before.
Well, Janice indicates that it's a good thing you haven't heard of it. She's giving it the thumbs down.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, multiple thumbs down, not just one.
smash burgers. And I want to do. I don't know.
I
Let
have
me.
heard about that, Levi, but I'm going to be honest with you. I have not tried it.
Tanya, maybe we could talk about doing that. We had talked about expanding the Oklahoma onion burger into something we would like better and make a French onion burger. Maybe we could look at that. Look at this pretty dog.
Yeah. Wolf.
How much does he weigh now, Jeff?
Right at 90.
And how old is he?
What, 14 months?
Wow. It's a big dog.
He's my buddy. He's gotten so much better since he had his surgery. Yes, go ahead, put your paw.
How did his training go?
Real good. He's doing really good. Yes, I know.
All righty. Well, Tanya, have I missed any
Okay, no hot done.
any questions that we need to?
No, just remember to make sure that those things get posted about the rubs.
Okay.
And Levi, I had an absolutely amazing time. It was fantastic. I got to see the Lego vault. And it
The
just
Mike
Lego
wants to see
vault.
Mike
Yeah.
wants to see a pimento cheeseburger, Tanya.
Oh, we could do a pimento cheeseburger because I do love
Okay.
that.
Well, we got to look at that in a little detail then, because we need to put something on it besides pimento cheese, and I've got some ideas on that.
But that vault, it has a copy of every Lego set ever made, even the wooden ones. Yeah, back before they started doing the plastic bricks. Oh my gosh! So we got to see that, and it just went on and on and on and on and on and on. Oh my gosh! So
Nice.
Anthony, I behaved myself really, really well. I did bring back Legos. Well, I actually had them shipped because Legos are heavy, and the special set I hand carried, but I can't show you guys the special set until after June 25th because I don't want to be sued.
Jeff,
So-
they got this special set that is only available for the people that come to this tour, and these things on the aftermarket are worth thousands of dollars. They sell on eBay for thousands of dollars a piece because they're
really
in
cool.
such high demand.
Wow.
And I got 3 of the 5 Lego House exclusives from Beeland. And the cool thing was I got them signed by the designers.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And we got to meet the designers and some of the designers and talk with the designers. And I was standing there after lunch waiting to go back into the room. And I look up and holy cow, it's Jamie from Lego Masters. And I'm like, oh, Jamie, anyway. So
Sounds like
so
you had
I
a
can
great
reveal
time.
on the last live show, as long as it's past the 25th.
the
I have it in
26th.
the bag right here, but the deal is we can't post anything.
And she's serious. They had to sign a non-disclosure on that.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
big.
how serious they are about it.
It is.
That's
But I got to
serious.
see them mold
Yeah.
Lego bricks, so I got to do a factory tour, and that was really super cool. So I enjoyed that, and we couldn't take pictures there. As a matter of fact, the only place we could take pictures was reception, and I thought that reception extended a little further than reception did. So I got a lot of pictures that I shouldn't have not have taken, but I didn't know that. It was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
So that was cool. We got to spend a lot of time between the Lego house, which is awesome, and the Lego Idea house, which is like holy ground. And I got to walk in the Lion House, which, of course, is where it all started. So it was really cool. And I had tons of fun. I got lots of, as you guys know, that top executives have minifigs as their business cards. So I got a bunch of cool minifigs. Met a lot of really cool people, including one designer who has a Lego piece named after him. And it was like super cool. I hung out with him. He was really, really great. But anyway, it was just tons and tons of fun. More about Lego. And I mean, seriously, you started at like 8:30 and you ended up at 9 or 9:30 or 10 o'clock some nights. So
Wow.
you were for 3 days fully immersed in Lego and everything you've ever wanted to know about Lego or thought about Lego and everything. And I got to meet a lot of nifty people, so that was cool.
And how did you get this trip?
Well, every October they make it available. You have to apply for it, and it's a lottery thing. So this year they expanded to doing like 35 people a tour for 10 tours, so 350 people, but over 6,000 people applied.
Wow.
So it is really and truly just it's in Denmark, Janice. So it's really just a super duper cool thing. And the little town Billund is absolutely amazing. And I got to walk past the castle, the Wizards and Knights Castle, so that was really cool. And we stayed actually in the Lego, the Hotel Lego, which is in the theme park, the original Legoland. So I could look out my window and see the theme park and stuff from the theme park. So that was really cool.
And guys, this was the Lego experience was just the last 3 days of her 8-day trip over there. She went touring Denmark and spent a few days in Copenhagen and whatnot prior to all this. She didn't go just for that.
Well, that's the primary reason, but I went and checked out other things too. I picked a town called Vejle, which is like a major transportation hub. So, I was checking out a lot of places. Like I got to go see the Hans Christian Andersen Museum, which was really super cool. The Viking Ship Museum, again, super cool.
The Viking Ship Museum is really cool.
I went to Jelling, which, oh my God, was like truly just absolutely awe-inspiring. It was amazing.
Did you enjoy the food?
Huh?
Did you enjoy the food?
I for the most part, yeah, I enjoyed the food. There was nothing. I didn't try anything too super duper crazy. So
she sent me pictures of about everything she had,
yeah.
And she ate top notch food the whole time.
I had some good stuff.
There.
I mean,
she did.
There was
some of the dishes, some of the stuff she sent me. Most of what she was eating were vegetarian type dishes, and they made me hungry looking at the pictures.
They were really good.
She had some good looking stuff.
So I enjoyed that. There was a couple of times I had two. Actually, I had 3 store interactions in which I did everything in Danish, and they were none the wiser. So that was kind of cool. But sometimes if I had to revert to English, everybody was very, very cool with that. Yeah. So that was nifty.
Well, the cool thing about Denmark is that it seems that most Danish people speak English.
I did run into like
one person in Germany and Switzerland, all the Euro. Speaking English is not an issue.
Most of them in France speak English also, but they just won't.
Right. That's what I was going to say. It's not like France where they know it, but they really kind of just despise
they have to really like you if they speak English to you.
It was really great. I had a fun time. I was walking 5 to 7 miles a day. I walked so much that my ankles were swelling really bad every night. But that was cool. It took like 3 days when I got back to actually be able to see an ankle again. I was like, look, I do have ankles. So, but it was great. The people were very friendly. It was cool. I did some history. I hit some bookstores and some libraries. Lots of museums because I love that kind of thing. And the Lego trip, the Lego thing was just. It is so much Lego, you just couldn't do it. Now, Pitmaster X is in the Netherlands, I believe. Is that correct?
He is. He's not in Denmark.
So
he's outside of Amsterdam somewhere. I don't remember the town he lives in. I'd have to look it up.
He has sure expanded his what he started out as his little cook area to what it is now. He's really expanded it.
I haven't talked to Royal in a long time. I remember when he first popped up in the social media scene. I became friends with him a long time ago. He was making some video content, and I would comment to him. I'd say, why do you not put yourself in the video? Most of his content was just imagery and music. He wasn't narrating or doing anything. And I said, why don't you get in the video? And he had a self-confidence issue with his English. He did not feel like his English was good enough for him to make English-speaking video. But after the first time he did it, he never looked back. There's nothing. I never noticed anything wrong or difficult with Royal's English. It's perfect. It sounds like
perfect English.
Yeah,
probably better than mine, y'all.
Yeah, I discovered Royal about the same time, or no, I discovered him before I discovered Bjorn. In Sweden, and I remember sitting in Bobby's office at Kamado Joe in Duluth with Bobby and Eric, Chef Eric. We were talking about some additional influencers, and I showed them Bjorn. I said this guy. I said he's not stateside, but he's doing some amazing stuff with the Kamado Joe. And I showed Bobby about 4 videos that Royal had done, or that Bjorn had done, and Bobby said, John, connect with him and see if he'd like to have some grills. And that was before he was cooking on Kamado Joe. He was just doing some non-Kamado. I think he had some Weber stuff maybe. And so I hooked up with him, and fortunately he spoke English, because his videos at the time didn't have any dialogue in them either. And but I said this guy's an electrician. He's an industrial electrician during the day, but he's got a really good cooking skills on his grill. And we ended up sending him a Big Joe and I think a Classic Joe at the same time, maybe. And
trying to think of the guy's name that's actually from South Africa, and he's in Amsterdam. Faberway.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name either. He's done some stuff with Eric in the past.
Yeah, done some beautiful work.
Fergal. I know who you're.
That's yes, Fergal van Ravensway.
Yes, he's in Amsterdam, and I think he and Roll know each other pretty well. But that guy's a great cook. He's a chef of his own. So
yeah, he turns out beautiful stuff.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we need to wrap up. We're at 1:10. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Come back next week, where since it's grilling season, since grilling season's official, Jeff and I will come up with some sort of burgers again that will hopefully amaze you. And Mike Little's has requested a pimento cheeseburger, which I'm thinking about already. And I would like to elevate. I would like for pimento cheese to be one of the ingredients on this burger. And I'm going to talk. I've already got some ideas that I'll talk to Tanya about when I get upstairs. But I think a pimento cheeseburger may be forthcoming from the man cave. So we'll see what Jeff comes up with. So,
Cool.
guys, y'all have a good week, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Ciao.